Today's Monday, August 24th, 2026, and this meeting is virtual only. Regular meeting at 5 p.m. and this meeting is being recorded. The meeting can be viewed live on the Medford Public August 24th, 2026, and YouTube channel through Medford Community Media on your local cable channel, Comcast channel 9, 8, or 22, and Verizon channel 43, 45, or 47. Participants can log in or call by using the following Zoom link, and the meeting ID is 98308033909. Member Rousseau, if you could please call the roll.
Certainly. Member Graham.
Here.
Member Mastrobuoni.
Here.
Member Olopati. And see Member Olopati. I'm going to mark him as here, unless anybody objects. Member Parks.
Olopati, you there?
I think he's in
Hello.
the Uber.
Can you-
Hello. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes. He's here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Sorry. Member Parks.
Here.
Member Reinfeld.
Present.
Member Rousseau, present. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Present. 7 present, 0 absent. Are there any student reps on the meeting today, or I don't see any? If we can all please rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Thanks. We have our consent agenda, approval of bills and payrolls, approval of donations, Cummings Foundation $35,000 donation for CCSR, approval of meeting minutes from our regular meeting on July 20th, 2026. Is there a motion?
I think I have one adjustment to the minutes. I don't,
Yes, Member Parks.
for, item, for the, item, D1, I think it is, review sustainability goals for the MHS project. My memory, was that, item 2 on the list of the things we were trying to achieve was that prioritize lead healthy materials points to obtain the additional 1% MSBA reimbursement was added to the text that we were going to specify red list free healthy materials for all materials except MEP and fire protection, and prioritize lead healthy materials credits necessary to obtain the maximum IAQ MSBA reimbursement to ensure superior indoor air quality for students and staff. Sorry, that was a mouthful. I can type it into the notes if you want.
Could you pop that into the chat for me?
Yes, I will.
So
Thank you.
motion for approval by Member Parks as amended,
Second.
seconded by Member Reinfeld. Roll call, please.
Oh, I forgot. I'm like, why are we doing a roll call? Because we have to. Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastrobuoni.
Yes.
Member Olopati.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes,
Member Reinfeld.
Yes.
Member Rousseau, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Consent agenda is approved. We don't have any reports of subcommittees, but we do have a number of reports under our superintendent. First up is recognition of Joan Bowen, Director of Student Services, retirement. I'm going to turn it over first to Dr. Suzanne Galusi, our superintendent.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I do appreciate this time to acknowledge Joan Bowen. This is a really bittersweet time for us, but I do want to make sure that we speak to her 33 years with us in Medford Public Schools. And Joan, it's not just the incredible amount of time that you have given to this district that kind of like stands out for us, but it is the profound amount of heart that you have poured into the community every single day. You are also a resident as well as an employee, and I think that that has mattered tremendously. You have worn a lot of hats over those 3 decades here in Medford Public Schools, from teacher to educational team leader to coordinator to the executive director. And in every role, you were a steady, respected source of support for staff and a dedicated advocate to students and families. And we knew that we were in capable hands with you. And that is a fact that even our Department of Education auditors and liaisons could not help but to notice and acknowledge. And that is a level of trust that a lot of people had in you, and something that cannot be underestimated. And beyond all of your capable expertise, I think, like I said before, what we will cherish the most is how deeply you cared for the Medford Public Schools community. No matter how overwhelming your schedule got and how much demand was on your desk, you always made time. You always made time for your colleagues to feel like a priority. You always listened thoughtfully. You helped to problem solve complex situations, and you coached. You coached well, with care and skill. And so you've positioned us well for your succession, but your impact of 33 years is deeply felt. And we appreciate and thank you for your dedication, your heartfelt leadership, and your unwavering support, and service to students and families and staff. And so you will be missed, and we appreciate everything that you've given to us. With a bittersweet heart, thank you, Joan.
And I'll second that. I'll second all that Dr. Galusi said and how humble you are. You didn't want us to do anything big for you, so you said get this done virtually, which is crazy, Joan. But thank you. 33 years is a long time, and you have poured your heart into this job, and you've made it better for hundreds and thousands of students. So thank you for everything you've done for Medford Public Schools, our students, our families. Best of luck, and have a wonderful retirement. You so deserve it. I think my schedule's hectic, but I know some of you over in the school department are much crazier. So of course I have a virtual citation, and then I'll give you a virtual hug after, but just to outline your dedicated service, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep, and that was from the whole school committee. Oh, Paul, Member Rousseau.
Thank you. You became the director right after I became a school committee member. And so it was interesting because you were the first person I saw doing a transit. Well, I mean, we had a new superintendent too, but it was your confidence and your calmness in particular has always been something that I've been like in awe of. I can't speak for, I certainly can't imagine what it's like to be any administrator, but if there was one job that I imagine is the hardest one, it is yours. Because, well, you're not dealing with any situations that are easy, frankly. And I've really appreciated that we've had, what do we have? We had coordinated program reviews, then tiered focused monitoring, then targeted and focused monitoring. And now apparently we have a new name, integrated monitoring review. So Desi is keeping us on our toes to make sure that all the acronyms we could fathom are through your department. So I appreciate that those audits come back perfectly clean. It does, as a school committee member, to not have, to have the public or myself as a parent have to deal with findings that require remediation. I don't know how to, they could, sometimes, those findings can really cause an uproar in the district and in the community. So I'm glad we've not had that. So I want to thank you for that. But I also really want to thank you for your sense of humor. It is really a joy when we're in negotiations, when we're caucusing, and you have an amazing sense of humor that can make what is often very stressful feel less stressful. And I'm guessing that's actually a part of how you're so calm in your current role. And I am in a little bit of a denial that you're leaving us, but I'm glad you still live in Medford, and I do hope that you will be around. You're also a great hugger, but that's sort of a little out of bounds. But so thank you for all your service and for for all of your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Member. So I'm going to go to Member Graham and then Member Parks.
Thank you. Joan, we do have a gift for you, but because you haven't retired just yet, we're going to hold on to it because you're not gone just yet. And we'll make sure we get that over to you in person instead of in a virtual hug kind of way before you leave, before your last day. I just wanted to say thank you, particularly for the work that you've had to do around the new Medford High School. It's the special education planning is so interesting and intriguing because everywhere else along this process, there's sort of guidance, guidelines, formulas, et cetera. And then you get to special education and it's just like blank slate. And still you have to balance, sort of the difference between what you have and what you need and, make the case for why students need what they need and balance all of the specialized programming that we provide at the high school. And I know that's not been an easy feat. And it's been many, many, many countless hours of meetings with the project team and answering lots of questions from everyone. So I just really appreciate the work that you've done to set us up for the future. And I hope that you'll come cut the ribbon with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Parks and Member Olopade.
Thanks. So Joan, I know I've known you probably the shortest in this group, but I just want to say that even though I'm new to this and I did come right at you from the start with the Special Ed Reserve Fund, I just want to thank you so much for all of your support and everything that you do for Medford. Just my brief interactions with you for that. You were so generous with your time and your expertise, and just really always focused on getting everything right, explaining everything to me over and over, and making sure, the numbers were right, the explanations were right, and just trying, it was apparent to me that, you wanted to get everything right for the kids, and you've devoted basically, a massive amount of your life doing it for Medford's kids. And it really, I'm in awe of it. So I just want to say Medford is stronger because of it. And I appreciate it. And I just wish you nothing but the best in your next adventure.
Thank you.
Member Olopade.
Thank you. Can you all hear me still?
Yes.
Okay. I apologize. I got a flat tire out in Harvard, Mass. So I'm currently in an Uber driving back. So, and because of the dodgy connection, it seems like when I turn my camera on, my mic turns off. So I've unfortunately will be a lifeless head for the moment. But that all to say that I want to echo, I think, what all of my colleagues have mentioned before. I think being a newer member and learning as much as I've learned these last few years, Joan, you've been a just endless reservoir of information and advice and suggestions and direction. And I think that is something that is just as invaluable as I can illustrate regarding my time in the school committee. And I think the direction of the district, I think we are stronger because of your service. And I believe that the impact you've given us over these last 33 years will be reverberating through the district for years to come. And in some ways, I believe that your impact and your advocacy for this work and tireless education, I think, like many educators, is going to, in some ways, never be fully acknowledged or captured in full effect. But I do hope that you hear me and my colleagues say, if nothing else, thank you, thank you, thank you. It means more than you know. And I know the students and families, the caregivers, the guardians, the staff, are thankful as well. So yes, I appreciate you, and I hope that you'll be there to cut the ribbon with us, as Member Graham mentioned, and you'll continue to be a resource. Even though I want you to take some time off, I hope that you'll continue to support us, and we can be able to tap upon you as things come along, because I know that I'm going to miss you quite a bit. So thank you again.
Thank you,
Thank
Aaron.
you. Thank you. Member So, you have your hand up again, and then Member Reinfeld.
Great. I just have one quick thing. It's not a regular person that can do the interviews for your replacement. And the committee I sat on that committee, and the committee is really asking, what's wrong with our system? And she's sitting there and she is open and not defensive. And that truly amazed me in a way that I don't know if I've ever seen that before. And it's just a beautiful, I think it's a beautiful example of how dedicated you are to the students and, not to your career. You're not dedicated to you're dedicated to the students. And I think that really came through during those interviews. So I just wanted to mention that because most people don't get to see that because it wasn't a public meeting. Thank you, Joan.
Member Reinfeld.
Yep. Thank you. Again, ditto what everyone said. And I would just add to that. It takes a real talent to find the balance in this role that I think you do. This work, you have to be fierce and you have to be gentle and you have to navigate strict detail compliance and also those human experiences that maybe don't show up in the numbers and the rules. And just having that balance has been a real asset. And in addition to what everyone else has already said, I very much appreciate that. I appreciate your willingness to meet with me, with so many people. You've been in so many meetings, and every one of those meetings, I think, has been person-centered. And that's really, really huge. And you'll be missed. And there are a lot of people who have learned from, and we will be seeing, as others have said, that those ripples out and that a new era for Medford, and you've set the stage. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Reinfeld.
If I could, I just want
Yeah.
to say thank you to all of you. Your support over the years has been, what helps me do my job. Without the amount of hours we spend together, it was always a cohesive team with the focus on students. The staff in Medford has been incredible. I'm not going to miss the meetings. I'm not going to miss the long hours, to be honest, but I will miss the interactions that we do have and the respect that we have for one another. I am a phone call away. I am still going to be in Medford and around, but I do want to say, like, for everyone that I've worked with, past and present school committee members, the mayor, central office, all of the staff of Medford Public Schools, I couldn't do this job without their support and their guidance and maybe, telling me to calm down a little bit. I don't, behind closed doors, I might get a little animated, but for the most part, what you see is what you get. And it's always been about the students and how we can improve. And like Paul said, we have a new assistant superintendent and they're going to come in with their ideas. And it's not that I did anything wrong, but we always have areas that we can improve on. And I am looking forward to see how, Kim does that, and that also that she'll continue to have your support as well. So I just want to say thank you to you all. It's been an amazing 33 years. And I love Medford. I love the school system. So I just hope that you guys continue the work that you've started. And I can't wait to cut the ribbon when we get the new high school and we can see what all the hard work has brought forth. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Joan.
Mayor, there might be a handful of people in the audience who are here to say something about Joan. I think I saw a couple of people who might want to say something.
No hands are raised. So I'll go on to the next item unless Colin one last time. We have a MPS wellness policy, Dr. Suzanne Glusi, Superintendent, and Jennifer Silva, Director of Health Services.
Yes, I'm going to turn it over to Jen Silva in just a moment, but I also do too, just to kind of finalize the last segment. I'm really happy that this is not Joan. I was so glad when the mayor mentioned she's just so humble, but I'm glad that we were able to have this important recognition duly recognized on her retirement. So we wish you the best, Joan. As we pivot to the wellness policy, Jen Silva, the Director of Nursing, is going to do a little bit of an introduction to the wellness policy. She's going to kind of highlight just updating the policy based on the Department of Education regulations so that we are compliant with such. And I do see that we also have, I believe, Dr. Sabia on the call. And I think I don't know if I've missed anybody else, Jen, but please make sure you can give some introductions if I missed anyone. So Jen Silva.
Thank you, Suzanne, and good evening, members of the school committee. I don't think we have anybody else from the committee, but I'll talk a little bit about what the policy is and what the requirements are, and sort of the committee that worked together over this past year. So just a little bit of an overview of what the policy is, what it means for our students, our families, our schools. Really, the policy looks at creating a school environment that supports the whole child, looking at student health, nutrition, physical activity, social emotional well-being, and how closely that is connected to how our students learn and succeed. The policy really starts with establishing a district-wide wellness committee. That wellness committee includes school staff, families, students, community members. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but lots of people on our wellness committee, and establishing that committee meets at least 4 times a year. So we did establish that committee in this past school year, 25-26. Retta Smith, who's the director of food services, and I co-chaired that committee. We also had Dr. Sabia, who's our school physician, Stacy Schulman, director of school counseling and behavioral health, Rachel Perry, director of physical education, health education, and countless administrators, staff. I think we had a group of like 25 people in our wellness committee. We also included a couple students who are going to join us again this year, which is great. So we'll have that continuity with those students who were with us last year. Establishing that committee and updating the policy is a requirement every 3 years. And so we probably haven't looked at this in much longer than that. So really our task this last year was really to take a look at this policy. We partnered with DESE and the John Stalker Institute with a wellness coach to really walk us through sort of what the regulations say, what's required, what's best practice. And so the majority of what you see when you look through this wellness policy is really what DESE is saying needs to be in this policy. We have a couple of outliers, and I'll sort of go over what those are, but we as a committee thought that they were important to include in the policy. Let's see. So what you're looking at when you look at this policy, so there's 8 goals. First goal is about implementation, just having a wellness committee, evaluating the policy, what our communication looks like. It's required that we post all of our minutes and agendas on our website and things like that. It also establishes the standards for nutrition and accessible meals, looks at the USDA standards and competitive foods, encourages physical activity and physical education in our schools, looks at nutrition, education, and food literacy, addresses food allergies and other food-related practices in our schools, supports social emotional health, and also supports staff wellness. Really, overall, this policy is looking at the fact that healthy students are in a better position to learn, participate, and thrive in our schools. And that's really what we're doing with this policy, and really creating an environment that allows students to make those healthy choices every day and be supported in making those healthy choices. So I don't know, I was trying to remember if we've done a reading of this policy yet, and maybe someone can tell me if we have or not.
You have the I'm trying to find it. Was it included in the actual? Do any of the school committee members have this? Because I can't find it in my packet.
Okay.
Let me just quadruple check.
Excuse me.
I'm going to check the drive.
I think we'll just put it in the chat.
Thanks, Will.
Great. Thank you, Will. Okay, that now I'm like, I feel like I know what this thing is. Spent a lot of time on it. We have not done a full reading, I don't think, in a regular committee. I think we did in subcommittee.
I was gonna say, I think this got sent to a subcommittee, but never came back.
It didn't come back. That's correct. But that's okay. I mean, we can proceed. And I mean, if the committee agrees to that. It's the number one thing on my whiteboard, and I'm glad it's in this meeting instead of sitting on my whiteboard.
Member Graham?
I just had a question. How does, is there like a comparison of what this proposed policy is versus what the current policy is that you can share as well? Or is this just like so different that the change is not relevant?
There's some pretty major changes to this, so I mean, I can
Okay.
share, but we did make some major changes based on the recommendations with our coach from DESE.
Got it. Okay.
If I may, I'm looking at the old policy, and yeah, it's barely a policy, the old one.
So Jennifer, do you want to continue presenting? And while we're, oh wait, you're mute. You might be muted.
Am I muted?
Oh no, I can hear you now.
So going through each of the parts. So the first part, setting implementation, evaluation, and communication goals, is really looking at establishing the committee, having that committee meet at least 4 times a year, and updating our goals and policy at least every 3 years. Communicating with the school committee annually on any changes, updates, and how we're doing on our goals. The second section, which is the setting the USDA child nutrition standards and school meal goals, is really looking at providing a program that is appealing to our children, that we are providing meals that children want to eat in our schools, that we are providing free potable water during the day and throughout the school day. And it has, some other guidelines around cleaning surfaces and things like that that meet up with the standards. And then the biggest thing in section 2 is about meal times and scheduling, and making sure that there's a minimum of 20 minutes per day for lunchtime. So 20 minutes seat time. So best practice, DESE says, is there's a 30-minute period for lunch so that we have at least 20 minutes of seat time for eating. This also touches on the sharing of food and beverages, looking at food allergies, making sure that we're not sharing food, that we're not bringing food in to share with students. And then income eligibility and confidentiality. Section 3 goes on to nutrition standards from competitive.
Sorry, Silva. We have a separate allergy policy. So this policy is going to be connecting to a few different policies as well.
Exactly. So the wellness policy is required by DESE. We have to have allergy policies. It's something as a district we've looked to expand on. And so that is, we're currently working on that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Question. Section 3 is about setting the nutrition standards for competitive and other food and beverages, looking at the fact that the school day is defined as midnight the night before until 30 minutes after the final bell, and any food that's provided to students during that time complies with the Massachusetts nutrition standards. And so really set some standards around fundraisers and events, and what do those things look like in our school buildings. Thanks for putting that up. Section 4 reviews our wellness promotion and marketing goals. And really looking at making sure that we don't market foods in our schools that are not nutritious, that are, if we have any vending machines, that those comply and they don't have logos, that we don't have, scoreboards with logos of unhealthy products. And so really meeting those promotion and marketing goals in that way. And then also looking at avoiding food incentives as reward in our schools. Section 5 is on setting food literacy and nutrition education goals and just reviews sort of best practices for nutrition education, as well as sort of things that we are kind of already doing in our schools and just promoting, having things like promoting fruits and vegetables, whole grain products, linking with farm to school and other programs that Retta has been working on. Section 6 is about setting physical education and physical activity goals and looking at having at least 20 minutes of recess per day, preferably before lunch as best practice. Also goes over the Massachusetts state frameworks for physical education and nutritional the national standards for physical education and what that should look like, and what DESE puts forth as best practice. So those sections are the sections that are required per the regulations. The next 2 sections are the ones that as a committee we decided were really nice to have. It's something that we strive towards and are working towards. And if you look at the language, a lot of the language is around sort of like striving towards these goals, and not necessarily that like this is going to happen, but that really we would like to see this happen in our schools. So the next section is about setting staff wellness goals and trying to promote physical activity and wellness opportunities for our staff, and the different things that can look like promoting fitness classes, professional development, different district-led initiatives, and then also providing snacks during our meetings that align with the Massachusetts nutrition standards. And then the last section is about setting social emotional learning goals and reviews our commitment to promoting social and emotional well-being for all students and what that education looks like in our schools. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. Ms. Silva, I don't see any questions, and that was a very good presentation. Member Russo?
Yes. When we're done and approve this, I just want to add some formatting and metadata at the bottom. Nothing we have to do right this second, but we don't usually include that as being something the committee's actually approving, because sometimes it's like dates, we don't know the dates. But I will want to update this before it goes up. But thank you. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Is that a motion for approval, Member Russo?
It is.
Is there a second? How did we do that formatting? By member, who's that? Member Olopade, Member Mastroboni?
That was me.
Member Mastroboni, seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastroboni.
Yes.
Member Olopade.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld.
Yes.
Member Russo, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Policy passes.
Mayor.
Yes, Member Russo.
I'm actually just adjusting it to be approve the first reading.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make a motion to waive the second reading.
Motion to waive the
Second.
second reading by Member Russo, seconded by Member Reinfeld. Roll call.
Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastroboni.
Yes.
Member Olopade.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld.
Member
Please,
Reinfeld.
Member
Yes.
Think-
Did
Oh,
that
thank
not
you.
come through? Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Member Russo, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The second reading has been waived. Thank you, Ms. Silva. And next up, we have Robert's HVAC schematic design approval. I'll turn over to Mr. Ken Lord, Chief Operations Officer.
Thank you. Tonight we have representatives from PCA 360, who is our owner's project manager, and RFS Engineering, who is the design engineer for the Roberts Accelerated Repair Program. This includes a schematic design study for a new roof, prep for solar, new HVAC system, and associated requirements for accessibility improvements. So we have several members of the group here. I'll let them introduce themselves as they do their presentation. I think Alex might be starting from PCA 360, and I turn it over to them.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me just fine?
Yes. Welcome,
I'm
Alex.
gonna share. Thank you very much. I'm gonna share my screen.
You should be able to, Alex. Yeah.
Everybody see that just fine?
It's loading. We're looking at a black. Oh, there we go. You're all set.
Great. All right. Well, my name is Alex Lizas. I'm the Assistant Project Manager for the OPM PCA 360, and I'm joined by our design team at RFS, which includes Stratton, Griffin, Goshi, and Chad. And I'm just going to run through a few slides and talk about the Roberts Elementary School Accelerator Repair Program through the Mass School Building Authority. Let's get going. So this is our timeline and our schedule. Currently, we are here towards the end of August, approaching the end of the feasibility and schematic design phase. We are, this presentation, the Medford and the Medford School Committee approval, submit this project to the MSBA requirements of the grant program submission. This Thursday, the 27th, we have the MSBA deadline for submission to be on the October MSBA Board of Directors meeting for project funding approval. So after the MSBA board vote for approval on October 28th, the project will need a vote for the Medford City Council to appropriate funds for the schedule. So you'll see here, we have a projected construction period from the end of the school year in 2027 to the beginning of the school year in 2028, with the majority of the work happening during the summer months, hopefully during vacation periods, and if possible, during other non-disruptive periods during the school year. This slide highlights the project. It's partially funded through the MSBA grant program, and the reimbursement rate for the city of Medford is 53.32%. So the only scope in this project that is anticipated to not be reimbursable is the solar array, which is estimated to be approximately $900,000. So we have an overview of the project scope in this slide. It's two distinct scopes. We have the HVAC modernization and electrification project and the roof replacement project. So this project scope currently exceeds 30% of the building's assessed value, which means that the building and the project must fall under MAAB and ADA compliance to correct any deficiencies according to the Mass State Building Code. So the final component of the project is to provide for future building electrification, incoming electrical service, and new switchgear, which will be sized to accommodate the future conversion of the kitchen's gas-fired equipment and domestic hot water heaters to electric systems. So these conversions are not included in the current project scope, but we are sizing for them in this scope. So this is the roof replacement. And you see it's 29,000 square feet. There's currently some active leaks. There's multiple roof levels. Most of the leaks on the fourth floor. Some work needs to be done on the flashing and edging. About 10% some moisture intrusion. And the infrared scan that we did earlier in the year showed multiple thermal anomalies. So the existing installation is below the energy codes, is limited slope, and the new building code requires vapor barriers and will be going down to the metal deck. So the construction cost for this phase of the project is approximately $2.77 million. So this is part of the code compliance and accessibility. We do exceed the 30% threshold. The building was assessed at 28.2 million just this past year. And the 30% threshold's 8.5, and you'll see later on that we exceed that amount. So we're required to do a significant number of upgrades and updates to meet all compliance issues. So, there's some door clearance issues, some signage issues, some parking, railings, multiple bathrooms. There's over 300 individual items that our team was able to work through and identify to bring the building into full compliance. Oh, and that is included in the MSBA reimbursement program. It's covered under there. So I'm going to turn it over to the RFS team to go over some of the HVAC upgrades.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it very much. Hello, everyone. I'm Goshi. I'm the senior mechanical engineer helping the team here. I'll start with the scope of the project. So essentially, this, as Alex had already alluded, it's an HVAC electrification project. Along with it comes the energy efficiency of the new systems. And so that is what our targeted goal is. This particular slide that you're looking at has a list of what is currently existing equipment that is serving this building. We have obviously heating and cooling sources, and we also have ventilation and sources. And so as far as the ventilation and select air conditioning is concerned, currently we have three machines that live in a mechanical room. We call them air handling units. And what they essentially provide is, in most of the cases, code minimum ventilations that were designed about 25 years ago, and also select heating and cooling. In addition to that, we have some sort of equipment that is sort of particular to classrooms, and it's essentially sits on the exterior walls, and when we like to call them unit ventilators. Their job is also to provide ventilation directly from outside, and that it also has appurtenances inside them that provide heating and cooling to these spaces. A lot of the current source of these for example, cooling was an air-cooled chiller on the roof. And the heating source is non-condensing gas boilers that are inside a mechanical room. In addition to that, we have some refrigerant-based systems that were also providing some cooling capabilities to some of the equipment that is inside. Most all equipment is well beyond its life expectancy. It has passed its ASHRAE age, and in some cases, it's in pretty rough shape. So that leads me to, if you can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. This here is a brief cartoon diagram that I'm about to describe is what the new systems will be. Because of the electrification, we're limited to either air source or water source type of technology. What we're going to try to do is we are going to use high efficiency systems to draw heating and cooling from outside air, and that is why these machines are called air to water heat pump. So if you look at the diagram on the top left corner of the diagram, that's just a symbolic diagram of what they generally look like. They're essentially chillers, but they have refrigerant systems or cycles in them that are reversible, so they can do cooling and heating. And like I said, the source is air, so the electric connection gets to these units, and then they produce heating and cooling depending on the time of the year. They are capable of simultaneous heating and cooling as well. So essentially, this becomes your primary source of heating and cooling for the building. So whatever we're doing for ventilation in the building, or air conditioning of sorts, this is what we're going to use to produce energy and bring it into the building. The other parts of the improvements in the project also include a replacement of existing boilers with all electric boilers. Primarily, we have to have those because there is a slight limitation into the modern air-to-water source heat pumps. They do start to go into defrost cycles once the ambient temperatures are below 40 degrees in humid day, especially in humid days, and they also tend to derate quite a bit by the time the ambient temperatures get to 0 degrees. However, current modern code require us to design these systems to 100% of the capacity of the required ambient temperatures for our building. And here in Medford, that design temperature is 7.7 degrees. So our targeted sizing of this piece of equipment is that at 7 degrees, we will be able to provide 100% of the heating required for the building. And on the cooling side, it'll be designed for 95 degrees, somewhere around there. Once the temperatures do drop below those ambient conditions, especially below 0, we would need to use the electric boilers as a backup. And the controls will be set up in a way that we don't allow electric boilers to operate unless there is something wrong with the equipment or it's not operating as it should. And there will be a pretty robust control system that will look at equipment, troubleshooting and trouble codes. The other part of the improvements for the building is that we are replacing certain components of the air handling units. 2 out of 3 units were constant airflow systems. We are converting them to variable airflow systems by adding variable frequency drives to them to get the best efficiency out of these units. We're also replacing existing coils that are within the air handling units so that we can temper the air through low water temperature instead of refrigerant. And then other parts of the improvements include replacing unit ventilators they exist in every classroom, like I said, and the idea there is that we will replace them in kind with the most modern unit ventilators, and that they are going to use the existing louvers that exist. Other pieces of equipment that we will be improving on will be the following, but not limited to those: the radiators, cabinet unit heaters, propeller unit heaters, variable air volume boxes, and then any duct-mounted heating coils. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is so the previous slide we had a cartoon version. This is a little bit more complex version. So we have been looking at this is just a 3D representation of can we fit everything in the existing mechanical room. So this is just a way to say that we have been looking at test fitting everything in there, and we feel confident that the new systems will be able to accommodate on the lower roof as well as the existing mechanical room. Next slide, please. Thank you. I've already touched a little bit on the classroom unit ventilators and their replacement part. The image to the right-hand side is one of the units. It's hard to tell, but the supply is essentially on top of this black countertop, and then the return is at the bottom, close to the floor. And then behind this yellow panel is where the actual machine sits. And so like I said, we're going to replace them in kind. There is a lot of existing exhaust fans on the roof. A lot of them are, again, well beyond their life expectancy. So we will be replacing them with high efficiency motors and controls to replace most of them in kind. Part of the project is also recommissioning and cleaning of the ductwork. So recommissioning and the balancing part of the ductwork, and then clean the existing ductworks so that there's the dust and debris is removed from should that exist. Right, next please. On this slide, there's a couple of things that I'd like to touch on. One of them is the ongoing effort at Medford for improving the controls in certain buildings. And here, our goal is no different. We would be implementing a open-ish Niagara 4 platform to incorporate all the new and existing equipment into that system that can then be sort of uniform throughout the Medford school system. And so what Niagara 4 allows us to do is opens up building management system to a lot of vendors and also the repairs, and does not lock us into a single proprietary system or vendor. And so that would be the goal for us to implement that type of system. And then one of the things that we recommend for this building, which is happening more and more now with the electrification, is that the controls get a little bit more complicated than it used to be. So building optimization, or optimizing the energy use intensity of the building for the life cycle of the building, it is important that there is some sort of service that is retained that helps optimize the building, observes how building is operating, its systems operating, and they are operating as they're designed with the most efficient way possible. And part of it is that you want to be conserve energy as best as possible, and want the equipment to operate at the highest efficiencies possible, as the building new systems come in into the building. And so that is that pretty much concludes. I think if you can go to one more slide, please. I think this was my last slide, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Griffin, you want to take it from here, or do you want me to continue? I can do it. Okay, actually, so this particular the first one that you're looking at, this is another diagram of actually equipment on the roof and what we think it's going to look like. The air-to-water source heat pumps, like I said, in the beginning of this conversation, is that they're primary source of heating and cooling. And then the electric boilers are going to be the supplemental heating. And then just to reemphasize, our goal is to use the efficiency of these air-to-water source heat pumps as possible. The coefficient of power with these is, on a good day, it's 3.5, 4. And by that, what I mean is you put in 1 watt and you get 4 watts out of power out of those. And then heating, even though the COP is slightly lesser, it's still better than using electric boilers. But there is an expectation, just to set expectation that now that everything is all electric, you are going to see difference in your utilities, accordingly. One of the benefits of this type of system is that they're modular in nature. So there is multiple units that are sort of headered together, and each of them have multiple circuits with compressors and condensers where they individually operate to provide the capacity that is what they're designed for. So in this particular case, each of the 2 fans on top, there's 2 compressors in these machines, and they're approximately, the nominal tonnage is 30 tons. So if in the event, if one of the compressor goes bad, or anything that fails, the remaining of the modules continue to operate. And that is also true for any of the controls. If should the control board or anything that the head controller goes array, then you have individual units continue to operate. They default to continue to operate. So that's what that is. And I think the purpose of this slide is to really discuss a little more about the technology, This is not a new technology per se because they're essentially chillers, but a lot of these units had been used for cooling only operation. Now we're seeing more and more on heating and cooling operation. A few years ago, these units did not go really down to 0 degrees. They used to, operate anywhere between 30 and 40 degrees, and you had to had a backup of some sort. And the controls were really just not there yet, or not fully understood by a lot of people. So oftentimes, if and the purpose of this conversation really is to just setting up an expectation is to, just say if something fails and the alarm is produced, you'd want to get on it and, replace whatever it is that's broken so that you can continue to use the highest form of efficiency with these units and not rely on the backup boilers. Rely on your backup boilers when you really absolutely have to, and that helps with utilities.
But these look familiar to people. I mean, Goshi said it. It's essentially like an air-cooled chiller, but it can run in reverse and not just produce chilled water, but also low temperature hot water. And while they are newer technology, we're putting them in everywhere because of the everybody is doing the same thing we are here with the school, which is moving towards all electric and getting away from fossil fuel based heating and cooling. So.
Thank you, Stratton. And I think that concludes my slides.
All right. Thank you, Goshi. My name is Griffin St. Ange. I'm the project manager for the engineering design team. I'm also a mechanical engineer. So we just want to talk about some of the peripheral upgrades we'll be doing during this Roberts Elementary School project. We understand Medford has ongoing goals for full electrification and modernization of their buildings. So we have been in contact with National Grid already. We already have our foot in the door with them, and we're making sure that our new electrical service, as Alex mentioned earlier, is going to be sized correctly to be able to eventually in the future upgrade to a full electric kitchen. We've also started an open dialogue with Retta Smith from the Medford School District. So we'll be able to talk with her about the needs for the school as this project progresses. And we also understand that Roberts just recently has been upgrading their domestic hot water systems. So we are also leaving future capacity as well for the domestic hot water for when that project comes as well. So basically, this project, we're making sure that we're sizing our new electric room and our electric services for the next projects to come up in the future for full electrification. Next slide, please, Alex. So part of our study for the schematic design was to look into a solar system of a photovoltaic. So as of right now, during our studies, we're looking at about a 400 panel system on this roof that'll be able to do 400 watts each. So we should be able to get 185,000 kilowatt hours of electricity each year, which this will be able to offset the full building electrical use by 15 to 20%. And this analysis was done with this HVAC project in mind. So this isn't current. This isn't the current offset. This is the future offset that we're looking into. And we'll also be able to talk with National Grid. We'll be able to set up a program being able to sell back electricity to the grid. This will have to do with we'll be able to figure this out with National Grid in the future, depending. But we do think that we'll be able to sell approximately 10% on specific days. This also depends on the building usage. The most economical for using these solar panels is using electricity on site, as it offsets the 25 cents, 23 to 25 cents per kilowatt, when paybacks we've been seeing around 15 cents per kilowatt hour. So the system is going to be set up to primarily use all the electricity that the site can use, and anything extra on top of that we'll be able to sell back to the grid. Next slide, please. And also part of this analysis was doing a life cycle cost.
Go ahead.
Sorry, did someone want to say something?
I think it was an
Nope, all
accident.
set. Yep.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. So part of our analysis was also conducting a life cycle cost analysis. So we looked into the long-term financial performance of this system. We conducted a 25-year analysis, basically. Also keeping in mind that I'm going to talk about in the next slide, but also keeping in mind that we are going to be working with the federal government to get IRA incentives. This has to do with construction phasing, and is pretty, and it does depend on when this can get installed and commissioned, but there is an availability if we get this installed that there could be 6 to 30% of the upfront cost rebated back to the school district. So basically, we did 4 different analyses. We assumed no solar, all the way up to 30% solar, and the payback is about, we'll save about $40,000 a year that we found in our analysis. So this all also depends on how much we can sell back to the grid as well. But again, we just wanted to make sure that we were covering our bases, and we cover this more in depth in our report. That we did look into the payback of this solar system, and we just want to do this to make sure that we are covering the district's long-term electrification strategy. Can you go to the next slide, please, Alex? And this is, again, we're working with several companies to help this district save money on this project. The biggest rebate we'll be pushing for is from National Grid for the heat pumps. This is all subject to a application. So this is preliminary, but once we get into design, we're going to be working with National Grid and the school district to help get this application sent, so that we'll get as much money as we can up front. And again, these are all done in rebates. So once these systems are installed and commissioned during the next year's tax time, they will get basically just a rebate to what it would be if it was a private company. And since we are also replacing all of these fans in the building, we're also going to put variable frequency drives on them. And National Grid also gives incentives to this as well. This basically every fan in the building, it's basically upgrading the motors to, it's not either on or off. They'll be able to ramp up and ramp down. And this also helps save energy. And National Grid gives rebates for this. And another big one, since we'll be replacing the entire building's building automation system, National Grid also gives incentives, and it has to do with a dollar amount per square foot for each qualifying sequence. And I believe we can do up to 10 to 12 sequences that National Grid would count as an energy efficient sequence. So that's another incentive that we'll be looking for. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be working with the federal programs to get applicable IRA incentives for this PV system. This again will be in the form of a rebate, and will have to do with the final installation date, and commissioning. Next slide, please. I think we hand off to you, Alex. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Griffin. Goshi. So this slide over here is just a quick illustration of the different comparison of the costs that we had from the feasibility preliminary budget to now with the schematic design budget, both including the direct purchase of solar and working through a PPA. So you'll see that the total project cost under the feasibility was roughly 21.7 million, and under the schematic design budget, compared to pick the PPA solar line where it's 22.9, there's about 1.2 million difference. So a lot of that difference was because of the costs in the heat pumps and the original assumptions that were made. So just to be clear about it, that same 1.2 million would have been reflected in all three of the different heat pump options that were presented, that our team presented previously. So it's just something to keep in mind. So we're also showing the expected MSBA reimbursement and the anticipated city share, both through direct purchase of solar and PPA solar. So you'll see that the overall numbers haven't changed all that much in terms of what the city was expected to be paying.
I think it's important to note, right, Alex, that the part of the reimbursement plan does not include the solar.
Yes, that's absolutely right. That's why I was using the PPA solar as more of the direct comparison, but it is very important to note that the direct purchase of solar is not a MSBA reimbursable expense. Thank you. So this is our total project budget. This is the part with the OPM and A&E fees. And the first part is the feasibility study, which includes Amendment 1 for solar design. And the bottom part just basically shows that the combined A&E fees are roughly 17%, which is below the 20% cap. So they top out at 1,925,000 combined. And this is the final total project budget number. So you see the big line there is 22,785,689, which also includes some expected utility company fees. National Grid doesn't just put in updated services, they require you to pay a little bit, and some additional testing services. And also within there, we have the expected amount to be covered or reimbursable and what we expect the city to be paying over there at the end after the reimbursement, which is 11,672,211. Now this includes the direct purchase of the solar, just because it's always easier to take money out as opposed to try and add money in towards the end of a project.
Can I ask a question here?
Absolutely.
Because when this is Mayor Brianna Lungo-Kern. How are you? And I think it might be a question for Ken as well, because this is what our finance director was seeing recently, and I was under the impression it was 30,000 total for all three elementary schools, and now it's looking like more like 60 to 65 million for all three, Ken?
No, this is always separate projects. We had budgets like this for each one. I'm not sure where the 30 million might have been the total of our share for all three, which is right around there.
Okay, no, I just was under the impression it was 10 million apiece, 30 million total, 15 our share. That's why it's in our capital project items for 15 for the schools, for the city, and 15 for MSBA. So this is double the price from what I was expecting.
Yeah, the capital budget, let me do, well, I can look at that, but I think that was just the capital plan for this year, and then it moved out for multiple years.
Yeah, like even on our call today with bond counsel, we have it at 15 total for city for all three. So this is, Bob did say that he thought it was going to be double that based on something he saw this week, but that's the first that he or I has seen where the projection is double.
Yeah, looking at the yeah, I'm not sure. I can't say right now.
Okay,
But
thank you.
So in the feasibility preliminary budget, it was the projected cost was also at 21.7. So we're not, far off from that number. So it comes in pretty close to where we were. Just as a any other questions or any other comments?
I don't see any hands raised for additional questions, so you can continue.
That was the last slide. I will stop sharing.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any, if nobody has any questions, I'm gonna move on to number 4.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fiscal year 27 capital projects adjustments. I'll turn it over to you.
We do actually need to take a vote on the schematic design to approve it in order to be able to submit this to the MSBA to move on to the next step.
Motion to approve.
Motion for approval by Member Graham.
Second.
Second by Member Parks. Roll call.
Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastrobuoni.
Yes.
Member Olapati.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld.
Yes.
Member Rousseau. Yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much to the RFS team and PCA 360 team for their hard work on this. And we look forward to seeing how the MSBA reacts to our schematic design submission. We are in the first group, I should say, of districts in this heat pump conversion process with the MSBA.
Thanks, everyone.
Mr. Lord, I'll turn it over to you for fiscal year 27 capital adjustments.
Sure. So I had distributed a memo about some changes to our capital budget request for FY27. Some of these represent just things that have changed since the time we created our capital budget to date, and others reflect some supplemental funding we received as part of the state budget and some suggested changes from there. So the first section was we received about $210,000 worth, I'm sorry, let me correct that, $190,000 worth of supplemental budget funding from the state budget that covered some of the items in the capital budget. There was also a project to do some theater railings in the Karen Theater at the high school. We were able to do those in FY26. So that relieves a need of $20,000 from our capital budget. So there's a total of $210,000 in our FY27 capital budget that was approved that we do not need. So the question for the school committee is what they would like to do with that funding, either return that to the city and cancel those projects, or use that to offset some projects that are slated in future years. A potential for that would be to address the intercom systems at the Brooks, the Roberts, and the Missatuck School. I don't know if you want to take them all as one, or.
And can you pull up the memo that was shared?
Sure. Share. Oop, wrong screen. You see my screen now? You see the memo?
Yeah.
So this is this first section here. Zoom in a little bit so you can read it more. So this is this section here. So there's $20,000 for the theater railings in the Karen Theater, and then these three projects here, we received $100,000 in supplemental funding for the rug replacement at McGlynn, $50,000 in auditorium seating, and then $40,000 of the Karen Theater lighting upgrades were also picked up with the state supplemental budget. So there's $210,000 in our request that we could either return to the city or reallocate to potentially to the Brooks, the Roberts, and Missatuck intercom systems.
Yeah.
Member Rousseau?
Thank you. Are the estimates for those other projects based on an assumption they would be happening in a future year and might be lower because we're a year ahead of when they were going to happen?
You talking about the three projects here that we received supplemental funding for?
No, the ones we might do if we decide to spend that money instead of sending it back to the
based
city.
So those, I do not believe we escalated the cost on those. Those are based on some estimates for a current year. We're
Okay.
escalation on those.
Okay. All right. I mean, nothing gets cheaper, and frankly, we seem to be pressing really hard on how to make things more expensive around here. Not in the district. So I mean, I would certainly prefer that we. I mean, it's a rare day when we can almost get ahead of ourselves on any projects. I mean, the capital projects that we have really are massive, going out into the future. So I mean, I'm a fan of spending that money now because, yeah, everything gets more expensive. So that's just my opinion.
Member Reinfeld?
Yep. So I just wanted to confirm. So the intercom systems, I'm looking at the capital plan memo that we had. Oh, I don't have the date, but that we looked at before. So they are listed as priority 4. These the HVAC, hot water, roof are priority 1. And I noticed that everything in 2 and 3 is significantly higher than the 210,000. But is there any second tier offsetting partial costs on or getting a jump start on those slightly higher priorities? I realize the priority list goes like all the way down to 10 or actually 13, it looks like. So we are in 4, we are still fairly high up, but are there particular expenses in that second priority that could be partially offset here?
It'd be really hard to split up those larger projects into an amount.
That was my sense, but I wanted to confirm. And then I am all for, as Member Russo said, getting a head start on some of the things that are coming down and could well escalate in cost. I was wondering whether the city, this came from the capital stabilization allocation, correct? So this is funding that is specifically for capital improvements. And I just wanted to ask if there were urgent things in the city. I know like Medford Rec had the flooding, like, are there things that are very desperately needed on the city side, recognizing again that 210,000 is not enough to repair complete flooding disasters. So, but that was my question. And I guess it's probably for the mayor more than Mr. Lord.
Yeah, we have the rec floor, and the bigger project with that is the trying to waterproof the building so that the rec floor does not continue to get ruined and then have to be replaced. So that's going to be a project that we just don't know the estimated cost yet. And then we have Hormel needs new surfacing. Those are the two that are coming forward in the next month or two.
And
But
but
I
there-
think this is 200,000. I think you can repurpose it to school projects, and we're gonna use other funding for the city projects.
Okay, that's good to hear, because we all know that we have many millions of dollars worth of capital improvements needed in the schools. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to redirect this into our state delegation for providing the supplemental funding. So I would support that. And it looks like the intercoms are the highest priority piece that can be covered by this. So that makes sense to me. And I will motion to approve that reallocation. Although I think Member Parks had her hand up.
I don't see Member Parks' hand up, but correct me if I'm wrong if you'd like to speak. Otherwise, motion for approval by Member Reinfeld.
Second.
Seconded by Member Rousseau. Roll call, please.
Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastroboni.
Yes.
Member Olapate.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld.
Yes.
Member Rousseau, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Number 4 has been approved. Thank you, Mr. Lord.
Thanks. There was one other half of this, though. So the other half of this was that the capital plan allocated $250,000 for a Robert hot water tank project. This budget amount was created from an estimate, I'm sorry, not estimate, but the money spent at the Brooks for a similar study. And the idea was to move to electrified hot water tanks. That study ended up not moving in that direction because of the high cost of electrified hot water tanks. And then we also, during FY26, had one of the 2 tanks at Roberts fail, and we had to replace it as soon as possible to continue to maintain the proper amount of hot water for the building. So that leaves this project kind of in a bit of a limbo state in that we do not need the 250 for that project. But we are asking if we recommend to allocate that money for several other items. One is to spend $22,000 approximately to replace the other hot water tank at the Roberts, and they'd be off matching. To spend just under $40,000 to repair some chillers at the Brooks, cover the expanded scope at the Brooks turf repair for $109,000, approximately $25,000 to supplement funding for a McGlynn fridge and freezer condenser replacement, some drainage repairs at Roberts for $36,000, and a $5,000 pump repair at the Roberts for a fire pump system. So that would reallocate that money to those projects, many of which are in progress, and that we're using our operations extraordinary repair accounts to try to cover now.
If there's no question, I'd motion to approve those.
Motion for approval by Member Rousseau, seconded by Member Reinfeld. Roll call, please.
Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastroboni.
Yes.
Member Olapate.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld.
Yes.
Member Rousseau, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The paper passes.
Thank you very much.
We do not have any presentations of the Student Advisory Council, nor any presentations of the public, but we have a number of resolutions. First up, 2026-06, offered by Member Rousseau. Be it resolved that all members shall submit.
Mayor.
Yes.
Motion to approve the reading? To waive the reading?
Motion to waive the reading by Member Rousseau, seconded by Member Reinfeld. All those in favor, roll call, please.
Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastroboni.
Yes.
Member Olapate.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld,
Yes.
Member Russo, yes. Mayor Longo Kern.
Yes, it's very short, but that's fine if you want to waive the reading. 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Reading is waived. Member Russo?
Sure. So this was the rules that took a little longer. I put it on the agenda for February 9th. Forgive me, everybody. So this is just our updated rules. And I believe you all received that in email today. It reflects the changes we made in our June, I forget which meeting it was, one of our June meetings where we went through the list of edits. So if there's no questions, I'd make a motion to approve the rules.
Second.
Motion for approval by Member Rousseau, seconded by Member Graham. Roll call, please.
Member Graham,
Yes.
Member Mastroboni,
Yes.
Member Lapati,
Yes.
Member Parks,
Yes.
Member Reinfeld,
Yes.
Member Rousseau, yes. Mayor Longo Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Paper passes.
And is this going to need a second reading? It's not a policy, it's rules.
Correct. We don't need a second
Okay, then I won't motion to waive a second reading since it's non-existent.
Thank you. 2026-20 offered by Member Reinfeld, whereas regular standardized assessment is an essential feature of public schools' accountability profile and a contributor to a district's understanding of student learning, whereas scheduling of test administration and preparation has a direct impact on instructional time and curriculum decisions across the district. Now therefore be it resolved that the Subcommittee for Curriculum and Instruction will meet with the Assistant Superintendent for Academics and Instructions to receive and discuss her report on the assessment landscape across the district. Member Reinfeld.
Yep, I think this mostly says what we need to hear. Dr. Talbot has been working really hard to find out in her, congratulations, by the way, to Dr. Talbot and Mr. Lord on their first year in the district, but has been working really hard to audit and look at what's happening across the schools. And one piece of that is how often are students taking tests and preparing for tests. And so understanding that was a key piece, and she has a report, and I am proposing that our subcommittee for academics take the deep dive into that and report back to the larger committee.
Thank you, Member Reinfeld. So I'm going to take that as a motion for approval.
Yes, motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
I heard Member Parks, so I'll go with you, Member Parks. Seconded by Member Parks. Member Rousseau, if you could call the roll, please.
Certainly, Member Graham,
Yes.
Member Mastroboni,
Yes.
Member Olapati,
Yes.
Member Parks,
Yes.
Member Reinfeld,
Yes.
Member Rousseau, yes. Mayor Longo Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Paper passes. 2026-21 offered by Member Reinfeld. Resolution in support of e-bike safety education. Whereas Medford Public Schools wishes to encourage safe, active transportation to and from school, defined here as human-powered mobility, such as biking or walking. Whereas the Commonwealth Special Commission on Micromobility, the January 2026 report, cities statewide increases in e-bike, scooter, and e-motor commuting an estimated 23% annual increase in related injuries since 2017, with more than 1/3 of those injuries occurring in children 14 and under. Whereas Massachusetts Safe Routes to School program has created resources for schools to educate students and community members in matters of pedestrian, bike, and e-bike safety. Now therefore be it resolved that the Medford Public Schools will provide students, families, and staff with educational information about laws, regulations, and recommended safety practices for bikes, e-bikes, and other micromobility devices within the first month of school. Good resolution. Thank you, Member Reinfeld, and I'll turn it over to you, or if you want to move.
Again, I hope this is self-explanatory. We're seeing an increase in these e-bikes and commuting, and students could use some education around the actual rules for what is an e-bike, what is an e-moto, and just generally there's information out there, and this is providing one more way of getting this to students. I actually wrote this resolution before I saw last week's memo, which included some of this already. So I think this is really well aligned with what the district is doing, but to formalize the fact that we want students and staff and families to be educated about the different transportation options and the safety requirements around that. No more kids riding around with no helmets or helmets unbuckled, all of that. We should be supporting safe behavior. Motion to approve.
Yes. Yes, helmets are required for, I think, 16 and under, so
16
by
and
law.
under.
Yep, so
And-
by
and
law.
e-motos are not allowed 16 and below. It is considered a motor vehicle, things like that.
Yep. Thank you. Member Reinfeld, motion for approval, seconded by
Second.
Member Graham. Roll call, please.
Member Graham,
Yes.
Member Mastroboni,
Yes.
Member Olapate,
Yes.
Member Parks,
Yes.
Member Reinfeld,
Yes.
Member Russo, yes, Mayor Longo Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Paper passes. 2026-22 offered by Member Graham, whereas be it resolved. the
Mayor?
Medford School.
I do have
Me-
an amendment because something got hacked off in my document before I submitted it, so I can just drop
Whatever.
it in the chat.
Or feel free to read your first whereas.
Sure. I'm happy to read the whole thing. Whereas the Medford School Committee appointed members to the Medford Comprehensive High School Building Committee and has made updates to the makeup of the committee at key milestones. Be it resolved that the Medford School Committee thanks the following members of the Medford Comprehensive High School Building Committee for their service through the feasibility study phase of the Medford Comprehensive High School project. Voting members Emily Lazaro, Joan Bowen, and Marissa Desmond, and non-voting member John McLaughlin will all be leaving us. Be it further resolved that effective as of this meeting, the Medford School Committee welcomes the following new members. As voting members, Liz Mullane, who will be a city council representative, Tracy Keene, a community member representative able to return now that feasibility is complete and his schedule has shifted in our favor, and Jen Belanger, a teacher and community member, replacing the spot that Maria Dorsey has previously held as the MTA representative. Maria will be staying on as a voting member and retiree because she is a Medford resident, a caregiver, and now a retiree of our school system. And then non-voting members, Kim Clinton, the Assistant Superintendent for Special Education and Student Services, will join us in that capacity. Be it also resolved that these members, along with the remaining continuing members of the MCHSBC, shall be appointed by this body through June 30th, 2027, which aligns with the completion of schematic design.
Thank you, Member Graham. Can you just let the committee know who picked these new members? I know I wasn't involved in this round, so just give us a little background.
Sure. For the most part, there weren't lots of decisions to make. So Emily Lazaro notified me that she intended to step down. And so I worked with the council president to identify another council representative, and that is Liz Mullane. Jen Belanger was identified by Dr. Galusi, who fits the criteria of our teacher spot. Tracy Keene, returning to the committee, was a selection to replace Marissa Desmond. And he has previously served on the committee and had a number of personal conflicts that made it difficult for him to do that in the last year. So he seemed like a great fit to come back based on the conversations Dr. Galusi and I had. And then Kim Clinton is Joan's replacement. And so there wasn't really so much discussion about that.
Thank you. Is that a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
By Member Mastroboni. Roll call, please.
Member Graham,
Yes.
Member Mastroboni,
Yes.
Member Olapate,
Yes.
Member Parks,
Yes.
Member Reinfeld,
Yes.
Member Russo, yes, Mayor Longo Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes. Offered by Member Rousseau and Member Graham, 2026-23, a resolution in support of the E-rate program, whereas the E-rate program created by Congress and the Telecommunications Act of 1996 and operating since 1997 lowers the cost of broadband internet access, internal network connections that schools and libraries purchase through discounts ranging from 20 to 90% scaled to the share of low-income students a district serves. Whereas E-rate today supports more than 100,000 schools and roughly 11,000 libraries nationwide, delivering approximately $3 billion in discounts every year under an annual spending cap and competitive bidding requirement and regular audit and oversight. Where Medford Public Schools receives approximately $278,330 each year in E-rate support, which carries our networking
instruction, our state mandated online assessments, our student information and special education systems, and our daily communication with families. Whereas connectivity in a public school is no longer an enrichment or a convenience, but the floor on which everything else stands, and a district that loses it does not return to some earlier way of teaching. It simply loses the capacity to do the work. Whereas on June 25th, 2026, the Federal Communications Commission adopted a notice of proposed rulemaking and further notice of proposed rulemaking opening WC docket number 26-133, which asks, among many other questions, whether the E-rate program should be narrowed, reoriented, or discontinued. Whereas Commissioner Ann Gomez, dissenting in part from the notice, observed that E-rate is the largest source of technology funding for the nation's libraries and third largest for education, that more than 97% of surveyed schools and libraries consider E-rate funding essential to their operations. Whereas eliminating or curtailing E-rate would not reduce our dependence on the network by a single classroom. It would only move that cost onto the municipal budgets already stretched past their limits, forcing districts to choose between the network and the educators who teach on it. Whereas a discount structure means the districts serving the highest needs students receive the deepest discounts and therefore stand to lose the most. So the reduction in the E-rate is not felt evenly, but falls hardest on the children with the fewest alternatives at home. Whereas the Medford School Committee has no funding authority, cannot raise taxes, and has no effect on the revenues we are allocated from city, state, and federal sources to execute on the authority we do have. Whereas our mission is to provide a caring educational partnership of school, family, and community in pursuit of providing the very best education our children deserve for them and for the future of our world. Whereas the commission's proceeding is open to public comment and the commission must consider a record before it so that our silence in that record would itself be a decision. Whereas the Medford School Committee, as a democratically elected body with exclusive local control over public schools, must press on the city, state, and federal government to supply us with the revenues we need to meet our obligations. Now therefore be it resolved that the Medford School Committee affirms that the E-rate program is essential to the operations of the Medford Public Schools and joins the hashtag Save Our E-rate campaign of the schools, Health and Libraries Broadband Coalition, and its partners in urging the Federal Communications Commission to preserve and fully fund E-rate. Directs the superintendent to file comment on behalf of the Medford Public Schools in WC docket number 26-133 through the FCC's electronic comment filing system before the close of the comment period, stating the district's annual E-rate funding and the specific services that funds support, and to attach an official copy of this resolution to that filing. Directs the superintendent to transmit official copies of the resolution to Chairman Brendan Carr, Commissioner Ann Gomez, and Commissioner Olivia Trusty of the Federal Communications Commission. Directs the superintendent to transmit official copies of this resolution to the following: Governor Maura Healey, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Edward Markey, Congresswoman Catherine Clark, Senator Patricia Jalin, State Representatives Paul Donato, Sean Garbely, and Christine Barber. Directs the superintendent to transmit an official copy of this resolution to the Medford City Council in accordance with the Medford School Committee rules. Directs the superintendent to transmit an official copy of this resolution to the mayor of Medford. Directs the superintendent to transmit an official copy of this resolution to the Board of Trustees of the Medford Public Library and the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and encourages every school committee in the Commonwealth to adopt a resolution of like effect, passed and adopted by the Medford School Committee. So I'm going to take, does anybody want to move approval of this?
Motion to approve.
By Member Reinfeld,
Second.
seconded by Member Rousseau. Roll call, please. Thank you for
Can I
doing
just say
this,
a quick
members.
word?
Yes, Member Rousseau.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on, E-rate's obviously very important, and $287,000 doesn't sound like all that much money, as we just discussed capital projects, but this is every single year money. So it is a real chunk of change that, we just talked about a bunch of capital projects we're going to get to do. All those have begun. So I'm really distressed by this. It's just another attempt to end public education as an actual institution by the Trump administration. So I'm excited to get this sent along and cross our fingers they change their mind. Anyways, did you want me to take the roll call, Mayor?
If that was a second, yes, please.
Yeah. Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastroboni.
Yes.
Member Olapati.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld.
Yes.
Member Rousseau, yes. Mayor Longo Kern.
Yes, 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes. Thank you both for putting that on. We do not have any new business or reports requested. Our next regular meeting is September 14th, 2026 in the Alden Memorial Chambers, Medford City Hall, in addition to Zoom. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I just want to say have a great start to the school year, everyone, and then I'll motion to
Yeah.
adjourn.
Yes, we second that. Thank you, Member Reinfeld. Is there a second to adjourn?
Second.
By Member Graham, roll call, please.
Member Graham.
Yes.
Member Mastroboni.
Yes.
Member Olapade.
Yes.
Member Parks.
Yes.
Member Reinfeld.
Yes.
Member Russo, yes. Mayor Longo Kern.
Yes.